Hey, my name's Ollie and welcome here to Stigbergets Bryggeri in Göteborg, Sweden. We're a brewery that started off in 2012 in Majorna at Stigbergets Torget, but now we've grown to a point that we have what is behind me here, our production facility just east of the centre in Partihälana. Here we're aiming to produce up to 3-4 million litres of beer a year. As it currently stands, we're pushing almost 2 million litres out of the facility behind me. We also have a secondary brewery located on Ringön, where we brew lots of our small batch, weird and wonderful stuff before we perhaps take it to the production size that we have here. At the moment, we mainly have a focus on lagers, but it's all kinds of weird, wonderful, and even wild ales you can be found from Ringön. Here at Stigbergets, we're known best, I think, for producing our New England style of hazy IPAs. However, we've got fantastic lagers and porters and ales and all sorts of wonderful bits and pieces of beer. And at Stigbergets, mainly the way we think about brewing is we want to brew beers that we're proud of and happy with ourselves. That's why we definitely have our niche of being the hazy IPAs with our unique house yeast strains for all sorts of beers. However, we love beer, so we love making all sorts of different bits and pieces for everything. So for those of you that don't know, much like the rest of the world, the Pilsner and Lager beers are still possibly the most popular styles in Sweden. However, quite quickly catching up is the New England IPA, which, from my experience of having moved to Sweden, is that Swedish brewing culture definitely veers towards the slightly stronger of beers. Around the 5% mark tends to be the most popular, but the Swedes definitely do like to drink their beer, but responsibly at the same time. For Sweden as a country, it hasn't got necessarily the same rich brewing cultures as many other European breweries. However, Gothenburg in Sweden has definitely made a name for itself in the last 20 or so years as being the most breweries per city in any part of Sweden, with in my personal opinion, some of the best beers coming out of Europe are all coming out of our city right here, right now. So somewhere around the 5 to 10 year ago mark, after the popularity of the West Coast IPA, the New England IPA took a lot of the world by storm with the same beer style and vibe of the West Coast IPA with its slightly higher alcohol volume, but a bit of a sweeter body and lower bitterness with a lot more fruity floral hops and a distinctly hazy appearance. The New England has now become our core signature style of beer, such as our Amazing Haze right here. We first brewed a New England IPA around the 2016, and we appear to have done a decent job because it very quickly became, both with Amazing Haze and what we call our West Coast, but is actually a New England style of beer, quickly became our two most popular beers. And since then, we've just kept pushing our experimenting and our boundaries and our borders to make more of these New England style beers, but all different, unique, and better with every batch we brew. Here we have one of our best-selling beers, the Amazing Haze, also one of my personal favorites. As you can see, as I pour it out, it's got a rich golden color, which we get primarily from our heritage Caramalt and Golden Promise base malt that we get from the United Kingdom. And it forms a big white fluffy head, and if you see very clearly, it's a thick haze that is unpenetrable by light almost. So outside the malt, it's brewed using our special house yeast that helps provide that thick, heavy haze, and then dry hopped with Mosaic, Citra, and Equinot hops to give a strong tropical fruit, mainly grapefruit, passion fruit, along with some citrus fruits in there, all over a nice biscuit and toffee honeycomb base, with an impeccably low bitterness that can easily lean you in for drinking more and more.